and thanks for staying with us here on the Urban Debate 9 p.m. edition. We now move on to the second story that we've been tracking. And amidst the pandemic, elections were held in 4 states and 1 union territory. Results come out on 2nd of May. Elections finally came to an end today, with the last phase of polls being held in Bengal. Let me tell you what projections show, what pollsters are saying will happen this time around. Let me tell you which of the parties are projected to win and form the government. For whoever it is, their first task is cut out, because we are in the middle of a COVID catastrophe. But as for the CVoter projections, we start with the state of West Bengal. The Times Now-CVoter projection says TMC is slotted to get 152 to 164. BJP projected to get 109 to 121. The Congress left ISF combined projected to get 14 to 25. It's not giving others anything at all in terms of seats. Let's look at the vote share as well. Interesting stories that come out of here, and especially this time around for the BJP in West Bengal. TMC is projected to get 42% vote share, 42.1%. BJP 39.2% and 15.4% for Congress, left and others. Let's go to the neighboring state of Assam, where Times Now-CVoter projections show that NDA could return with 58 to 71, while for UPA they're projecting 53 to 66. We've also looked at other pollsters. Largely, everybody is giving that bit of an edge or a bigger gap and a win to the NDA in the state of Assam. Take a look at the vote share. And this is a bit different when it comes to CVoter, Times Now-CVoter, where there is a significant gain for vote share for the UPA. What will be interesting to see if it is from the regions where the anti-CA sentiment was the strongest, and if this gain for the UPA was because of its alliance with AIUDF. But will it be enough to win them the elections? As per these projections, not. Tamil Nadu, the Times Now-CVoter projected range for UPA 160 to 172. That's DMK, led by Stalin, and then Congress and others, 160 to 172. NDA, that's AIADMK, BJP, and the others, 58 to 70. This is the story, reduced to 58 to 70. None or a couple maybe for Kamal Hassan's party, MNM, a couple maybe for AMMK. That's the projection for Tamil Nadu. Take a look at the vote share as well. DMK plus Congress plus others projected to get 46.7%, and NDA projected to get 35% vote share. In fact, MNM projected to get pretty much the same as they did in the Lok Sabha elections, where they didn't win any seats. So no gains for Kamal Hassan, even in the assembly polls. That's the projection. Kerala, the big turn and the big interesting talking point, set to create history by bringing back the same party and the same government. LDF, the alliance, set to win 71 to 77. UDF 62 to 68. BJP a couple perhaps. And the vote share, the gap is less, but more seat share projections of even other pollsters are actually telling you that Pinarayi Vijayan is coming back. So here are the key headlines. If you've missed what happened earlier in the evening, let me tell you the key headlines. Polls suggest that Mamata Banerjee may return victorious, set for another term in West Bengal. Similarly, in Assam, it will be the BJP which is set to return. We don't know who the chief minister will be, though. Will it be Sarbananda Sonowal or Himanta Biswa Sarma? And after 2 terms, AIADMK is set to go out, and the sun is projected to rise in Tamil Nadu, with the DMK really coming back with Congress. In Kerala, LDF is set to continue, projected to continue as per the pollsters and various polls that we've looked at. Let's talk about this. And our focus tonight is going to be national. So I say good evening to Nilanjan Mukhopadhyay, senior journalist joining me right now. Aman Sinha, spokesperson for BJP and senior advocate with the Supreme Court. Dr. Ami Yagnik, member of the Parliament of Rajya Sabha of the Congress Party. Manojit Mandal of the TMC. Professor Dinesh Varshney, leader of the CPI. First up, of course, I want to go across to our managing editor, Vinay Tiwari, with me in our studios. Vinay, your initial reactions to the numbers, some gains, some losses for few of the parties, but a big task for anybody who comes to power with the catastrophe we are staring.
Yes, I mean, so there are two numbers currently. One, of course, is being looked by the political parties very keenly, which is the number of seats they won, which they'll know on May 2nd. But for me, the bigger numbers, of course, is the COVID numbers, because that's really the biggest war that we are on currently. And I think for any government that's going to get formed after May 2nd, that will be the big challenge. And in the situation that a government actually changes in a state, it'll just make that challenge even more, because any government who is, going to take oath has to hit the ground running. Bengal is already in a bit of a crisis in terms of the rising number of cases. Tamil Nadu's infrastructure may be better, Kerala is better, but still the situation is no better. But politically, of course, I think these elections will create a new kind of paradigm in many states which are going to elections. In Bengal, you're set for a very fractured, bitter and a very, I would say politically violent phase in the state, with a very close contest. Whichever party comes to power, it's not going to be easy. And that's my concern there is that it's going to create a little bit of a hurdle in governance. You really cannot expect governance to happen when parties are busy trying to save their governments or battling each other out on the streets politically. In Kerala, of course, you will definitely, inevitably have a question of Mr. Rahul Gandhi and the Congress's drift, so to speak, because this will be another instance where he's not been able to save his own citadel. And in that sense, a history is getting created in the state where a government is getting returned to power for a second time, which has never really happened in the last 40 years or so. Tamil Nadu again, I mean, you can pretty much be certain that AIDMK's succession war will now restart, and Sasikala, who's been waiting in the wings, perhaps with this kind of a result in mind, will re-emerge, and you will have another crisis there as well. I think what most polls are suggesting is there's going to be a stable government in Tamil Nadu, because most of them are almost clear that the UPA is winning by quite a handsome margin, that state. So Assam again, many would have argued it's a closer contest. The exit polls don't suggest that. Actually, most of them are of the view it's a clear verdict. And that again will put question marks over some policies that the Congress has adopted in terms of their electoral strategy. So a lot to ponder for the parties, but I hope that in all this political thinking and strategizing, the 5 states which will have new governments very soon do not forget the principal challenge on hand, and that is the COVID war.
Yes, and actually, I also hope that, irrespective of what the polls are suggesting right now, we have very, very clear results, because we absolutely have no bandwidth for more politicking, for more poaching, horse trading, hiding, going to resorts, and all of that drama to go on. So, whatever it is, the mandate, I hope, is clear, because right now saving lives is the most important thing. Let's start off with what you are looking at as far as Bengal is concerned. And Mr. Aman Sinha, quick response from the BJP. Despite all the heavy-duty machinery that was used and deployed in Bengal, the numbers don't seem to suggest that you are in the clear.
Well, Tanvi, these are exit polls. Let us await the final poll results on 2nd of May. And Bengal is not a very easy state for pollsters to call. You've seen even in the past Lok Sabha elections, nobody said that BJP will get 18 seats, but BJP indeed ended up getting 18 and more seats, in fact, thereafter. So let us await the final results. Obviously, we are still very confident that we'll be in a position to form the government in West Bengal. But you also have to be mindful of the fact that BJP was only having 3 MLAs in the past house, and it will be a quantum jump. Today we are in a position to form the government. We have been the principal challenger to the incumbent government, which has been there for many years. So therefore, it's a remarkable progress for party in all respects. And I'm sure when the final results come out, you will find that BJP will get a comfortable majority in state of West Bengal. And as far as other exit poll results are concerned, from whatever I can see, the Times Now CNX-CVoter poll results. I think Assam, you are giving it to BJP. Puducherry, I do not know. Most of the channels have given it to the BJP.
Yes,
And
that is correct.
right. And it seems in Tamil Nadu, it's DMK has the upper hand, and similarly, in as I mentioned in Assam and
No, so
BJP
let me
is.
ask you this question, and Mr. Aman Sinha, you're a lawyer, so you're very good with words. So I'm going to try and attempt this one more time. What are you saying? Do you believe these numbers are correct, or that do you believe you will win in Bengal, or are you saying that these numbers, I mean, also show a significant gain for the BJP, and you will now be happy playing that strong opposition in West Bengal?
So, Tanvi, as I mentioned to you, these numbers are an assessment, an estimation, and I'm sure people have worked hard for this. I do not, bring out any infirmities or discrepancies in the numbers. The point that I'm making is that final results indeed will be known on 2nd of May. And based on our own inputs and reports that we are having, we are very confident that in state of West Bengal, we'll be able to form the government with a clear, comfortable majority. But at the same time, I was saying that the progress that BJP has made in past 5 years is truly commendable and notable. And coming from 3 seats to being in a position to form the government is no small achievement in itself.
Okay, let me get in a quick reaction then from Manojit Mandal, because Manojit Mandal, various polls suggest obviously difference in numbers. Yes. There are others who are actually giving the lead to the BJP, so you can't heave a sigh of relief yet. The Times Now-CVoter puts the TMC ahead, but Republic CNS puts the BJP ahead, and then there are others who are still yet to put out their numbers, so we'll get those consolidated figures in. But your own estimates, does this look like a number you are happy with?
First of all, we are, as we have been consistently talking about, that we are quietly confident about our majority, and it would be a thumping majority. There won't be there is no question of any fractured mandate. That did not happen in Bengal for the last 50 years or so. So that's not going to happen. I want to understand the kind of mind games that BJP were playing. Even 5-7 days back, when the Home Minister was here on the 22nd of this month, you are saying that we have already got the majority and ab ki baar 200 par. What happened to that kind of mind games? I want to understand that. I mean, none of the pollsters, including the one largely sponsored by them, Man Ki Baat, or so I should be saying Jan Ki Baat, but Jan Ki Baat, who's Man Ki Baat, we all know. I mean, I'll puncture this kind of pollster saying that in 2 districts, Malda and Murshidabad, there are 34 seats. Out of 34, Congress is going to get at least 10. I tell you, at least 10. I'm talking about Congress party. And this Man Ki Baat or Jan Ki Baat, they are giving Congress only 3 to 9 seats all over Bengal. So that's the kind of credibility that these people are actually holding. So apart from that Jan Ki Baat poll, nobody is giving any clear majority to BJP. All of them are pointing towards the TMC's majority. So I want to understand the kind of mind games that all the ministers, around 50 ministers, including the Home Minister, the Prime Minister, 4-5 chief ministers, what they were talking about. I mean, they could not beat one single lady, Mamata Banerjee. We did not bring in our friends from outside. I mean, we could have.
Okay.
I mean, we have plenty of friends from other political parties, but we did not have to. We have one star in Mamata Banerjee, and they have plenty of stars, 50 of them. And look at the number of cabinet ministers which came to sort of campaign here, and they are barely getting 100. Barely, I would still sort of hold it back, saying that they will struggle to cross 3-digit marks. That is our position.
Yes. Okay. Let him respond. Mr. Aman Sinha is very anxious to respond to you.
People have spoken.
And then I have to go to our other panelists as well. I have 3 more panelists, please. Quick response, Aman Sinha.
And I'm amazed at the arrogance of the TMC spokesperson. He seems to be, believing that these are final results. No, please, acknowledge the reality. These are estimation. These are exit poll results. Please await the final results. How do you know what final results are going to
I
be?
did not say
And
that.
based on that, you are passing out sweeping blanket judgments against BJP. Don't worry, there is a possibility that BJP may get more than 200 seats. And we do not need your certificate. Let us await
Okay,
the final
okay,
results.
okay. So now
You
this
are,
is a fight
you
about
are
whether to believe the projections or not and which one to believe, whether you
Now
want to
response?
believe this one or that one. No,
just
may I please go across to our other panelists as well and get quick
you
responses
take that
from them.
power. You
And I want to
go
go
on,
across,
go on,
before I
go
go to
about
Congress
Bengal.
party, I want to get a
I'll tell you
response
this.
from the left as well. Mr. Dinesh Vashne, you're better off fighting the Congress than you are when you join hands with them. Would you agree?
Will you please repeat your question, Tanvi?
I was saying you're
There was
better off
some
fighting
troubling
the
in the
Congress
voice.
party than you are when you join hands with them to fight elections.
We are fighting against the fascist forces in the entire country, including these 5 states. And every state has its own specificities in India. India is a country of unity and diversity. It has many differences, it has many unity. But let me tell you, Sanvi, before coming to your debate, I'm very sad that there is an institutional collapse while dealing with the corona by the central government and by the Modi ji, and the entire government was sitting in Bengal when corona was spreading. Now oxygen shortage, bed oxygen is there, and sole responsibility goes to the Modi. As far as these 5 state elections are concerned, BJP is not going to form government anywhere except one in Puducherry, that too from the coup from the Lieutenant Governor House. That can, otherwise they are not going to form government anywhere until and unless they have done the selective manipulation of the EVMs. Second thing, in Kerala we are going to form government, over 100 seats we will win, and we are going to increase our tally. Bengal also, the left-hand Congress will increase its tally. We don't agree to the assessment of these various things. All these election results, these predictions went wrong in the Bihar also. You were showing Bihar left 0-0-0, and the last happened what happened. Same thing will happen in Bengal, in Tamil Nadu, Congress. In Kerala, the BJP has only one seat. They will lose. They will lose. That will
But
also go
surely,
ahead.
Professor
I'm
Vashne,
telling you.
Professor
So that is
Vashne,
the
surely you
situation,
don't
and
want
it
to
is
argue with me on the minutiae details of when you will be reduced as the third front, the third party in the state. From one that ruled for years together to now a third party whose numbers may not really impact who forms the government.
this time this is not going to happen. Don't worry. Let the second May come. We will have much better seats than BJP. Don't worry.
Okay, let me quickly get a
BJP
response
and
in from the
BJP and
Congress
TMC
party as
same
well.
Noora
Same
Kushti.
question to you. Ami Yagnik, whoever joins hands with the Congress party seems to see grave losses in their political fortunes.
Tanvi, first of all, let me tell you that I was very happy when Mirror was totally showing the situation in the country and you were with the people of this country. You have been great in showing the reality and talking about vaccines and the difficulties faced by people. But today, when I had to come for an exit poll, I feel very sad that at such a time when people are crying, people are dying, people want medicine, people want beds, people want oxygen, people want hospitals, we are talking about exit polls. And that also because this is kind of an assessment. You will be conducting the same exercise for the next 3 days till the results are out on May 2nd. And
So,
after
Dr.
that, for
Yagnik,
one,
allow me 30 seconds. Allow me 30 seconds. I don't want to get into a war of words with you. I don't. I'm not going to sit here and question the push-ups and pull-ups that Rahul Gandhi was doing with college kids when people were dying. But I just want to tell you, in case you missed it because you were on another channel doing an exit poll debate, my first prime time conversation, even this evening, Dr. Yagnik, was on COVID, the COVID catastrophe. I did an exhaustive 6 p.m. and an exhaustive 8 p.m. because I and Vinay and our entire channel believes that is still the biggest story that we have to track. So, spare me this answer that may work on other channels, but it doesn't work here because we are continuing with that work.
This is the first channel that I'm talking about exit polls. I was not on any other channel. And I'm praising your work because I am seeing that day in and day out that you are bringing the issues to the forefront. But
Including
now
today.
that I'm coming for an exit poll, I feel sad. So can I not voice my expression that yes, at a time like this, when people are wanting to hear about what help they can get, we are talking about an assessment. You are
Fair
going to
enough.
discuss it after the result. But anyway, coming to your point, well, when they have said, one of the speakers said that from November onwards till date, now today the voting has been over and there has been continuous rallies and all the cabinet ministers were busy with elections. Nobody had time for corona. To talk about this assessment is absolutely premature right now. It should be feel pain. Everyone should feel pain that we are not able to help the people because elections are meant for governance, not to snatch power, not to bring politics. We have to be with the people of the country. The power is to be given to work for the people of this country. And if the prime minister has to go for rallies and become a kind of a super spreader with these rallies, I think we have to ask ourselves
Hey,
that whether we are talking
I will
about
have to
elections, we
intervene
are
now. I
talking
think
of powers. Please don't interrupt, Mr. Aman,
look at the
please.
Congress
Please don't
hypocrisy. So
interrupt,
why should I
please.
not interrupt? How can you use
And
such tone and manner? No, you
no,
have been
no.
No, 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 no.
participating
1 minute,
in all the
please. Aman
elections.
Sinha,
All
allow
the,
others
no,
to
all
finish.
your
I
governments
gave you the first
are,
opportunity and I
are
gave you
in,
ample time to make your comments, Aman
but
Sinha.
that
Please don't
doesn't mean
interrupt
that
others. You will get
you
your time to rebut
okay.
and then you can say what you want. Can I just please
No,
hear
but
Dr. Ami Yagnik? Yes.
So
no, please,
the
please
rallies
tell
with
her to
lakhs of
restrain her.
people have become super spreaders. The people have gone back to their respective states or wherever, and you can see what has happened. The death toll has crossed 3.5 lakhs. So my point is only that well, let the final results come on May 2nd, continuously discussing on exit polls or opinions on these polls. We should concentrate more that let the pain of the people be relieved. Let us talk about how best we can help the people of this country and why we should not be asking the questions to the present ruling dispensation at the center that why are the ministers sent for elections? They should be preparing for the second wave of the corona. The world is looking at us. The world is watching that, yes, this country is facing such a harsh wave of corona and people are running here and there for elections. So that is my point. Let us not talk about individual parties. Let us see what is this power, political power for. Let us believe in democracy and let us believe in social justice.
Well, everybody was running around, everybody held rallies, everybody broke norms, everybody is still doing it in the state of Telangana, in the state of Karnataka, and in the state of Uttar Pradesh, where local polls are being held. I really don't think any political party should try and make a higher than other kind of take a higher moral ground on this front. Cancelling rallies post 20th of April didn't make sense for anybody because by then the damage was badly done. Nobody took a tough stand when they had to say, let's stop it now, including the Election Commission. Aman Sin, I will come to you, but I want to go across to Nilanjan Mukhopadhyay as well. And Mr. Mukhopadhyay, as I come to you, one of the other, polls that we were closely tracking have finally come out with their Bengal numbers, and I'm looking at the India Today Axis numbers. And it's very interesting because while Times Now-CVoter gives the lead to the TMC, Axis India is projecting 130 to 156 for TMC and 134 to 160 for the BJP. They have literally put both in similar range, and it's a very big range, 130 to 156 for TMC, 134 and 160 for the BJP. So right now, I am simply putting out the picture here, Vinay, that we're looking at different pollsters giving different picture for West Bengal, some putting TMC in the lead, others putting BJP in the lead, and this one putting both in the same range. Mr. Nilanjan Mukhopadhyay, what do you make of this?
No, I think, as far as Axis India Today poll on West Bengal is concerned, I think it's basically, try to understand it statistically. They possibly in their poll found the vote share of the two of them to be almost at par. Now, they always, every time in a survey or in a poll, the biggest challenge is how do you convert vote share into seats? Now, because they are almost at par, that is why they are trying to increase the band in which the seats are going to actually be there and bringing the two of them fairly close to each other. If this actually happens, we really do not know that how close are they going to be to each other. Are they going to be 140, 150 or something, it could even be 130 and 180. We really do not know that what is going to be the band. But it definitely shows that the contest, as far as this poll is concerned, that it is a fairly close contest. And if that is the case, then I think, it's very important to go back to what Vinay had said right in the beginning, that we are tracking not just the numbers of the elections, but also of the COVID numbers. But I would say that there is yet another set of numbers which we must keep track of in the context of the results that will come out on the 2nd of May. That is that regardless of what the BJP might want to claim, there definitely would be a certain amount of dissatisfaction among the people at the central government in the way the COVID situation has been handled, not being able to anticipate the almost a catastrophic level of the second wave. Now, this is definitely going to erode a certain amount of faith or a support in Mr. Modi personally and the BJP at a national level. To what extent would this get balanced out by the election? A good performance in West Bengal is once again going to infuse a lot of enthusiasm in the BJP cadre to be able to recover the loss faced due to the COVID front. So that is why I think the elections become very important, because it is going to have a very definite impact on the BJP narrative, how it plays on. Mind you, next February and March will be the crucial elections in West Bengal. UP is not doing well as far as COVID is concerned. It will have an effect on the elections next year also. So a good performance in West Bengal is going to enable the BJP to prepare a good ground to go in on a fairly confident note in Uttar Pradesh. The second thing, which we have been talking about repeatedly, I keep on saying that we must not forget, that elections are also very important. The question is not to question. I found a ring of questioning elections in the way Ami Yagnik phrased her, disagreement with exit polls. Exit polls are a very important part of elections, at least for people like us, who track data, who look at political trends. It gives a tremendous amount of insight into politics, and politics is what determines governance. So it is very important that elections continue. The only questions which we need to constantly ask, which we have been doing since the evening, is the way the elections have been conducted, and on this score, the Election Commission must be faulted, and we must put pressure on the Election Commission so that future elections are held in the way it should be during a pandemic.
Very well said. Since you made the point about vote share, and perhaps that's where, that's what's prompting Access My India to come up with this kind of a range. We're just getting in those numbers, and it seems that the vote share, they're projecting 44% for TMC and 43% for the BJP. Often it's said that when it comes to opinion polls and exit polls, most of psephologists actually look at vote share as a bigger telling story than seats.
Oh, absolutely. And I think Nilanjan is absolutely right. In pure science of sampling and pure science of, psephology, vote share is a very critical part of it. Of course, it's a statistical skill to convert the vote share into seats. And remember, that's where problems start in states like West Bengal. And in West Bengal, the problem terrain is a little more complex than other terrains, and especially this year. Three complexities why this time I have a feeling that exit polls would not have been able to accurately gauge everything. I'm not saying one way or the other, but I'm generally saying. Number one, if a vote share difference between the two principal parties is 1%, and in some seats there is a third stronger candidate or an opponent which is present, it can seriously impact the outcome of it. It's very difficult to predict that outcome if there is another player available. So, for instance, if there's a CPM candidate or there's a Congress candidate who has some reasonable chance of weaning away some percentage of the vote, you can't predict that so accurately. That is part one. Part two, in Bengal, fear as a factor has always been there in terms of people not giving the right response or holding back on their actual responses. And I suspect this year that would have been a little higher than possibly even before. And the third and the most important thing is, remember, this exit poll, much like the elections, have also been conducted in the middle of a pandemic. And that does impact the quality of the responses that you sometimes get. Because, exit polls, the exit pollsters stand at the polling station and expect the sample to walk to you. In a normal situation, in an 8-round election, a pollster would actually use the right-hand rule and go to people's houses as per a refined sample and then speak to people. There is greater time and there is greater robustness in how you sample it. And I have a feeling that this time that's one side effect of the pandemic which may cast its shadow in closely fought elections. So there is a little bit of a doubt there. But having said that, Ranjan is absolutely right. In a 1% vote share gap, it's a nightmare to try and convert that statistically into seats.
Okay, Aman Sena, you wanted to make a point earlier. Go ahead, please.
So, Tanvi, first of all, I am amazed at the hypocrisy and hollowness of the Congress party. I mean, she has come here and she's castigating the entire electoral process. All her chief ministers have been campaigning, and we know these, state of affairs in Congress-ruled states, and they come out and start using such language and such abusive, words for each and every constitutional functionary. Does it behove them? And I mean, do they not even understand that people see through their hypocrisy and hollowness? Now, that apart, what is also to be noted that some of the political functionaries, either they are still in the campaign and election mode, they seem to be saying, yes, this is happening, that is happening, or either they have said that, no, this is the final judgment which has come out and there is no need of having the final results. Now, how can that be plausible? We have just seen yet another exit poll has come through. What is evident is that West Bengal is a closely contested election, and certainly the election final results, nobody knows the of ballot box or EVM, and final results can come out any which way. However, what is to be noted is that BJP has made remarkable progress, whether it is West Bengal, whether it is Assam, whether it is Kerala, whether it is Puducherry. In all the states, BJP is going to gain much greater vote share, and in most of the states, I'm sure in West Bengal, in Assam and Puducherry, we are confident of getting a majority on our own.
Well, I hope whoever does at least makes it a point to ensure we now manage to get a handle on this situation that we have allowed to get out of control because we wanted to fight elections and win some power and get as much power as we want. But Ami Agni, would you want to respond to what Aman Sinha is saying before I bring in TMC on this as well?
Yes, Tanvi, I never used abusive language. I never use. I'm continuously hearing from parties at political rallies the level at which the vocabulary has gone down. Let's not get into that. I only said that political rallies became super spreaders and that should have been taken care of. That is the only thing I said, and the whole world is saying that.
And why do you not advise
lakhs of people went there, and there were no social distancing norms or mask norms followed. That is one thing. Second thing is, I completely agree with Nilanjanji about the exit polls. Yes, they are part of democracy. I only said that there has never been a pandemic or a burning situation like this ever in the past. And so this time, for once, if we could have made the exit poll opinion debates a little shorter and not concentrate on that and concentrate more on the burning issues of this country and help the people who are crying for help, because all over Twitter, all over Facebook, there's only requests for oxygen, for beds, for ventilators. So that being the situation, I said that exit polls should not take so much time as it is taking normally all the time. I did not say anything else. I know what is the meaning of election, and I know what is the meaning of politics, and I also know what is the place of government.
So much time in exit polls?
Okay. Allow me to also bring in Manojit Mandalan, and as I go to the TMC, let me also point out, 1 minute, Aman Sinha, another set of projections coming in for West Bengal, where today's Chanakya is projecting 108 for the BJP plus or minus 11 seats and 180 for the TMC plus or minus 11 seats. So now yes, Vinay.
No. I just wanted to add this. Monojit will bear me out. Actually, this number is exactly the internal estimate of the TMC.
Yeah.
This is what they have in their internal estimate.
Okay, so that matches with TMC's estimate, but I want to know from Mr. Mandal, are you going to discredit now Axis poll and say Chanakya is right, Axis is wrong, Jan Ki Baat is useless, and CVoter may be right?
Look at what they have done. They have given, and I'm not talking about our projections. You forget about TMC. I want to understand, in Murshidabad district there are 22 seats. Congress is going to get at least 8 to 10. BJP is nowhere in Murshidabad.
I am very amused.
It's a fight between Congress and TMC. Now this poll, Axis My India, giving Congress only 0 seats. Congress and CPM for 0 seats in the entire stretch of Bengal. Now how does that happen? I want to understand. Because BJP could not even fill their agents in all the booths in Murshidabad district. And so is to a large extent true for Malda. In Malda and Murshidabad, again I am making the same point, out of these 34 seats, I am not again talking about TMC, Congress is going to get at least 10 to 12 seats. They are giving them 0 seats. How does this happen? This really punctures the credit that they are trying to get. They are completely looking at a bipolar contest. And my good friend from CPM will try to understand this, that how are they taking this up? I'm not
So then tell me, do you think Axis My India is getting it, is closer to what the reality is? No, okay, I take your point.
They are giving 0 seats to left.
Okay, you refuse to believe that Congress and left will get 0 seats, but as TMC spokesperson, do tell me, do you think India today, Axis My India is closer to the reality that both of you are neck and neck, BJP and TMC? Allow me to ask my question, Mr. Mandal. Listen to my question.
Understand the credibility of these polls, sir.
Acha.
Yes.
So so credibility of the polls is under question, but then tell me, what is your projection? Let's put in your projection here as well. Let's go with that.
Again, we don't talk about the numbers, but our numbers are quite high. It would be at least 175 plus. Look, I'm not going by the today's Chanakya's poll. Our assessment is amply clear. We are going to get at least 175 plus seats in Bengal. And in this district, again, I'm telling you, according to our assessment, Congress is going to get at least 10 to 15 seats. And that is going to happen from 2 districts only. That is the reality from which these people are completely sort of out. They don't understand the reality in Murshidabad district where BJP is nowhere. There are 48% minority votes in Murshidabad and Malda. How BJP is going to get seat out of these 2 districts? I want to understand that.
It's just an aside. This is the first time I've seen a spokesperson of a party forcefully arguing that another party will get more than what's being projected. I've never seen that before. Usually people overrate their own performance. This first time I'm seeing he's insisting that Congress will get more than what they're being projected.
We take the holes in the pollster.
So, okay, you are trying to punch the holes in the pollsters' numbers by saying if somebody is projecting this, they're obviously getting it wrong. Okay. May I bring in Mr. Dinesh Varshney also on this? Mr. Varshney, do you agree that this is, help Manojit Mandal here. He is defending the left and the Congress right now, saying not possible that you get 0.
He doesn't know about Murshidabad.
Look. In a very initial state, I said that these projections by the exit poll are not real. We don't agree to this. We are going to definitely have much better seats than BJP in West Bengal now, and you will see the result on 2nd of May. And I do agree with Manojit Mandal on Malda and Murshidabad. Same thing will happen in Darjeeling also, where left will have better share than any other political party. So this is to understand by these exit poll conductors. These exit polls are nowadays become a tool of the Modi ji and the ruling powers. Unfortunately, reason being they are financed directly or indirectly by them. As they have been financed in the oxygen plant, only one vendor throughout the country. This is the only country where one vendor is given the oxygen plant responsibility, and he has run away, and mismanagement has happened. And last 2 phases in Bengal election, the BJP is not going to get a single seat because of the COVID spread and the worst failure of the Modi government in saving the life of the people of the country.
We
Yes, Mr. Aman Sinha.
What is appalling here is that political parties also have their roles and responsibilities. Now everybody sitting here just conveniently blaming everything upon the central government when it is the central government which is in action. Just imagine that about 650 oxygen plants were sanctioned way back in October 2020, and 80% of the plants were not operated by the activated or implemented by the state government. Funds were allocated, and they are sitting here and thus
To a
just
single vendor,
uttering
to a
anything
single
which comes
vendor,
out of your
to a
mouth.
single vendor. When did tender? You let-
October
there is
2020,
a procedure
funds
for
were
tenders.
allocated in October
When did tenders?
2020. I have told you the date. You go and check up. I'm not here to educate you.
Put in public.
October 2020,
And
these plants were sanctioned,
Delhi we have
funds
seen.
were allocated, and 20% of these plants were set up, many of them by BJP governments. And people here who are jumping up and down and portraying themselves as the great sympathizers and supporters and helping people in this pandemic situation did not erect a single oxygen plant,
Okay.
despite that funds being allocated.
Right.
So I
Okay,
do not
okay. Let me
wish to
hear
point
what
out
Dinesh Vashne has to say about it. Good that the political parties at least want to debate what they did or didn't do as far as the COVID situation is concerned. Let's talk. Yes, Mr. Vashne.
Tanvi, no, I did not
No, no.
concede.
You did.
This is the very first.
You've asked a question. Let Dinesh Vashne respond to that. What happened to the plants that were allocated by the centre? Why did only BJP governments put them in place?
Look, Tanvi, let me tell you. They have given the construction of the making of the oxygen plant to a single vendor. This is the only country in the world where the single vendor is given whether he has a capacity or not to build. Number two, when they have raised the tender, for example, the Kerala tender, the tender last date is 30th July because they uploaded the tender in February. There is a procedure for tender. Until and unless the emergency, the tender procedures are waived off. That is being issued by the central government health ministry, not by us, not by any state government. They lied. Their lie has been caught in the Delhi High Court also.
Yes.
I'm not defending Kejriwal. It's a fact. They can't. They're lying to the nation again and again. And if they think if 100 times they speak the lie becomes truth. It's absolutely nonsense. People are dying. People are suffering for oxygen. People are not getting beds. People are afraid. Psychological fear. They are living in fear. They are not sleeping at a night. Every family has seen one or the other casualty. I lost my elder brother to COVID. To whom are you talking? He was a military personnel. Air Force director is not getting a seat. Chetan, who used to come on our debate, is not getting an admission to the aim, despite the fact he's losing his life. What are you talking?
Well, we all realize it today, Mr. Vashne. But we all realize it today. But we didn't do anything about it post-November. No, please. No. I don't want any more lecturing happening here on this panel by politicians. I'm sorry. I have had it enough, and I have heard enough from the politicians on what you didn't do and you didn't do. Aman Sinha, please spare me the blame game. Please spare me the blame game before I start questioning the BJP on the series of failures. Your BJP-governed states, Aman Sinha, are not even admitting to the deaths in their states. Spare me the lectures. You are sending now Air Force planes all over the world to get empty cylinders. What were you doing for the last 1 year? State chief ministers have been campaigning from Kerala to West Bengal. What were they doing for the healthcare infrastructure in their own? No, this is not going to happen. You are not going to talk over me, and you will not lecture us or put blames on other political parties. This is getting ridiculous. Ridiculous this is.
When there is a paucity of oxygen, people will wait for a tender process. What is the point that you are making?
What is the point that you are making? Who issued the tender?
I'm saying that it's a pandemic
you
situation.
You are waking up on 25th of April to call for oxygen from across the world.
Not get agitated. This is not,
please. Spare me the lectures and spare the lectures on this program. For 1.5 months, Mera Now has been raising these issues. You were all busy campaigning. You were all busy calling people for your rallies. Let me show you the visuals. In case you've forgotten, because you think you're going to win elections, let me show you the visuals of the rallies. Rally after rally, cabinet minister after cabinet minister, chief minister after chief minister has been busy for the last 6 months only with elections. Spare me the lecture today from any of the political parties. I am not interested in listening.
I cannot understand. Why are you so desperately trying to target BJP? Everybody is conducting rallies. Go and question them. When I talk about pandemic, you come to rallies. When I talk about the exit poll results, you come to some other issue. Please focus on one issue and try to discuss that.
Tell me, what issue do you want to discuss? Let's debate it right now. Tell me, which one do you want to discuss? Rallies or deaths in the cities across our country right now? Tell me which issue you want to discuss. Road shows or people gasping for breath for lack of oxygen? Tell me what you want to discuss right now, Amit Sinha.
And why do you not hold other Congress governments
You don't need
accountable?
to question me on that. My conscience is clear on who I question and who I don't.
These oxygen plants could not be erected. Why are you not questioning the Congress party spokesperson?
Why are you waking up today and sending planes across the world to get in oxygen? What were you doing for the last 6 weeks?
For 2020.
What were you doing for the last 6 weeks? Why are you starting trains today? Why are you sending planes today? Why are you now saying you will send? Why did you sanction 160 more oxygen plants? What were you doing for the last 6 weeks?
Allocated thousands and thousands crores of rupees and new plants are being erected every day.
Where is the oxygen from these plants? Give me one example.
Please. No, I've told you. Out of the 652 plants which were allocated, 20% have already been erected and they are functional in BJP states. And the kind of exercise which has happened, global effort to secure oxygen generators, to secure other oxygen cryogenic plants, etc. From each and every country, wherever these resources could be augmented.
Wow.
The central government
Okay,
has
so
done
then
it.
we should sit and
Why are you
celebrate
so
here
interested?
and pat you on your back
why
that
you
after
not-
thousands have died in this country, people are running around from national capital to the smallest of the towns in our country right now begging and pleading for oxygen. You have managed to finally get 5 planes full of empty cylinders from other countries. Congratulations, Mr. Aman Sinha. Vinay, this really infuriates me. Political party after political party, from Congress party to the BJP, has the audacity to tell us today that why are we talking about exit polls? Why are we talking about what the other states are doing? What have they done for the last 6 months?
Look, let's be very blunt and let's say exactly how it is. There is absolutely no question about it that the entire political class, and for Mr. Aman Sinha's benefit, I must repeat this, entire political class, irrespective of the party, irrespective of the coalition, or irrespective of the color of the flag of that party, has failed the citizen of India. Now, this includes the Maharashtra government, which is not a BJP government. It includes the Gujarat government, which is a BJP government. It includes the Delhi government, which is an Aam Aadmi Party government. And it also includes Uttar Pradesh, which is also a BJP
West
government.
Bengal.
And West Bengal, that's a TMC government. The fact of the matter is, the politicians of this country were so busy chasing power in a hurry that they forgot that this pandemic works very differently. Now, where I disagree with Aman, and I would bear, and please if he can bear us out and hear for 30 seconds, when you have enormous power and you have enormous popularity, also comes enormous responsibility. I gave this example at 6 p.m. Tanvi when we were talking about it. In the first innings, the Prime Minister started the Swachh Bharat campaign. And when he started the Swachh Bharat campaign, he decided to pick up the broom himself. That did make a difference because people said, oh, for the first time, the Prime Minister is doing something himself, which no other Prime Minister has done before. And you saw some impact of that on the ground. What Prime Ministers say, any Prime Minister says, has an impact on what the people ultimately do. And when you have a Prime Minister who's more popular than many other Prime Ministers, what you say makes a difference. So when you have a Prime Minister who goes to international fora and says, we have conquered COVID, people take cue from it. And then in the political rallies or the political road shows, when you have a visual display of ministers or senior leaders not wearing masks and not following the very guidelines that they insist on other people wearing it, and you show a duplicity of standards, it creates a very difficult situation. And that is why there is, and the last and the most important thing, no government, and I am repeating this, no government, irrespective of party, has prepared for a situation where our medical infrastructure is capable enough of handling a better load. And I'm not saying that every single patient with 5 lakh people in the hospital could have been treated. But surely, and just before this show, Tanvi, when we had experts on the panel, they all said that surely 50% of the lives that have been lost, 40,000 odd people who've lost their lives in April, at least half of them were young people whose lives could have been saved if you had better infrastructure available. I cannot understand. We had an example of a Nandurbar DM who has set up a captive oxygen plant in his district and he saved lives.
Yes.
You have today the Maharashtra government waking up and now suggesting that they will build 8 oxygen plants in every district. Why did the first wave not teach us that? Including state governments. It's not just central government alone, both government, they should have done that. That is one. Two, the central government enjoys clout and authority. The government should have pushed all state governments, just like we did last year, during the COVID, where all party meetings were done, all CMs were repeatedly called and given specific instructions via the ISMR. Why was it not done today? I can list 100 things where we went wrong at the central level. The vaccination policy, production control orders were not issued in January when they should have been. The genome sequencing that should have happened, the money was not allocated till February. So we were late in finding out which variant is currently in place. Now we have a third variant. The United Kingdom probably knows better than we do about what kind of variants are changing. Doctors need this knowledge or information to change and adapt to new vaccines.
Yes.
We have not used a scientific approach.
I don't even know if the West Bengal government is aware of what the triple mutant
West Bengal government, I'm sure, is not aware of it. Yes,
is capable of doing.
I'm very
and
sure
nobody is asking these questions. Nobody is asking these questions because everybody was busy for 6 months. So spare us any lectures on what is the state of affairs right now and who did what. Elections are over, you fought, the results will be out soon whether you've won or you've lost. People are dying. And people are dying because you dropped the ball. You lowered your guard. And now they are standing outside hospitals begging for beds and cylinders. I'm going to thank the panelists who joined us on this conversation. But keep this in mind, people. 41,000 lives lost just in the month of April. And we continued asking for votes. Think about it. Thank you for joining us.